Hello everyone, my name is Mohammad and this is my third YouTube video. In this series of videos, I'm gonna show you guys the functions I wanted to make for my game and the way I got them to work in my own game. So in this video, I'm gonna show you guys how you can create a stop menu, a simple stop menu, and I'm also gonna tell you guys an optional function or feature that you guys can use to make your games look even better than it already is. So without wasting time, let's go to the video. We first have to create a simple stop menu. To make that, we need a canvas. I'm gonna make it scale with the screen size. I'll make this half, put it in half. I'm creating it on 1920 by 1080p, so I'll match it with my screen scale. In the canvas, we're gonna create, you can create a background for it, as I'm gonna do right now. We're gonna create a UI panel, which is gonna be like this. So this part of the video got skipped and I'm gonna explain what happened. After I created a panel, I created 3 buttons. I, resized them and then I named all 3 of them. One of them is resume, the other is setting, and the last one is quit. To activate them or deactivate them, I'm gonna put all of them in an empty object. So we go here, we click on this plus, we create an empty object, or you can right click here. You see that here it is said create an empty object. You create an empty object. I'm gonna call it stop menu parent. I'm gonna right click on this and I'm gonna create an empty inside this. I'm gonna call this one the stop menu, which is the child of the stop menu parent. I'm going to change the stop menu parent's position to 0, 0, 0. It is important you have to change these values to 0, 0, 0, the position. So when you put the canvas under the stop menu parent and as the child of the stop menu itself, it doesn't, act all weird and that. So you put it here. Now when I deactivate this, you see stop menu is off. So to create a script for it, we go and create a script. We call it stop menu. You can delete the start part, but I don't recommend it. So, because if you want to, load the save files, you can load them from here. I might actually create a tutorial about that too. So, in here, what we need is the actual stop menu, which we're gonna activate and deactivate. So we say public game object. I'm gonna call it stop menu underline game object, because this one's the same name as the script. It's gonna give us an error, so I had to change name to underline game object. What else we need is we need a boolean. I'm gonna make it private. I'm gonna make it private boolean. I'm gonna say private bool. I'm gonna call it game is stop. It is false by default as at the start of the game. We're gonna give it the false value. You have to give it the false value. We also, if you're using the FPS controller from Unity standard assets, as I've told you guys before in the last tutorial, if you're using this, you want to stop your player from moving, moving the camera or something, moving when you stop the game, you have to give the first person controller script to your camera as well. To use that, you have to say using Unity standard assets dot characters dot first person. Now you can give the script to your script. You're gonna say public first person controller, as it says here. I'm gonna call it FPS controller. We have 3 buttons, as you saw, so we create 3 different voids for each of them. I'm gonna say public. You have to make them public so you can access them from the editor. You have to say public void resume, the resume button, then public void settings. This is for the settings. Maybe zoom it a little bit so you guys can see better. So yeah, public void quit game. So for the settings button, we don't have to do anything right now. I'm gonna add something in the future for the setting part. For the resume button, we're gonna see in the upcoming minutes. And for the quit button, if you want to quit the game, you can actually do that by calling this function. It is application.quit. So when we press the quit button, it actually quits the game. If you want to see if your button works, you can say debug.log, say quit game. So whenever you press on the quit game button, it actually writes quit game on the editor tab, under here. So say, let me show you, it is going to be written under here, but you have to, turn all of these on instead of off. These have to be on so you can see the message. Then we're going to create a function. We're going to say if we press the escape key, we see if we can stop the game. So we say if input.get key down, say key code.escape, as you see. So it says the code says whenever we press the escape key. So we're gonna see if the game is actually stopped or not. So we say if game is stopped is equal to false. It says if the game is not stopped, we create a boolean up here. If the game is not stopped, we do something. Then we say else if the game is stopped equal to true. Then we do another thing. So we say if the game is not stopped, as it is said here, game is stopped is equal to false, which means the game is not stopped. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do what? We're gonna say time.timescale equal to 0f. It's gonna stop the time of our game. What else we're gonna do? We're gonna, show the stop menu we just created. So we say stop menu underline game object that set active equal to true. So it shows our stop menu to us. Then we're gonna say if the game was not stopped and we press the escape key, our game is now stopped. So we're gonna say game is stopped equal to true. And when we stop the game, we actually want to see the mouse cursor. As you guys know, we want to see the mouse cursor so we can, select the buttons and all of that. So we're gonna say cursor.lock state equal cursor.none. What it's gonna do is it's gonna unlock your cursor, and you have to, you want to see your cursor. So we're gonna add cursor.visible equal to true. What it does is it makes our cursor visible. One more thing remains, our FPS controller. We don't want to be able to walk around when our game is stopped. We're gonna need to, deactivate our FPS controller to prevent any more bugs. So we say FPS controller dot enable equal to false. As it is a script, we're gonna deactivate that by calling dot enabled equal to false. This is our code for stopping the game. So what if our game is already stopped? We have to, unpause the game. To do that, we're gonna say time.timescale equal 1.0f or 1f. It doesn't matter. What else we're gonna do? We said stop menu. Say stop menu game object that set active equal set active to false, which deactivates our stop menu. If our game was already stopped and we pressed the escape key, now our game is on stop. When it was stopped, we pressed the escape key, now it is on stop. So it is on pause, we're gonna say game is stopped equal to false. This is a very important part. This line of code, this one and this here are very important. You have to write them, otherwise your code will break. For the next part, we're gonna say cursor.lock state equal to cursor lock mode dot lock, which is gonna lock our cursor, and we don't want to see our cursor, so we say cursor dot visible equals to false, which is gonna make our cursor invisible. Then we're gonna activate our FPS controller, so we say FPS controller dot enable equal true. This is gonna actually work. Let's actually test it out. Then we're gonna come here and finish our resume button, which is actually just copying this and pasting it here. So we go and test that out. We first gonna give the stop menu parent our code. We say we add this here, but it needs this an FPS controller, which will give this, and then it needs a stop menu game object, which is this stop menu we created, not the parent. This one, we give it this one, and by default this should be off. You should turn it off, or you can actually turn this off here. In the void start, you can say stop menu game object that set active is false, so it starts the game. I'm making this off at the start of the game. As you see, when I press here, this one is actually off. So this is our stop button. When I press the escape key, you see it's gonna stop the game. As you see, I cannot move. My cursor is visible, and I can actually use these buttons, interact with these buttons, and whenever I press the escape key again, it's gonna go back right into the game. As you see, it is actually in the game. So this was the function. I'm gonna create, make the resume button, and then I'm gonna give the codes, the scripts. I'm gonna link the scripts to these buttons. The resume button is the same as saying if the game is stopped, so unstop the game, or unpause the game. So to do that, we can actually copy all these codes and paste them in here, and actually that's it. We created the resume button. We didn't create the setting part because we don't have anything to put the setting part right now. We created the quit button. Now we link the buttons to the script. So we go and select our resume button from the editor. We go down, we go onto the under the button section. It says on click. We click on the plus, then it does something. We're gonna give it the object that has the stop menu script on it, which is stop menu parent. We give it this, dragging and dropping it here will do the job. Or you can actually press this circle and search the name, say stop menu parent. Dragging and dropping it is pretty much easier. We click on here, which says non-function. You look for your script, which is called the stop menu. You go down here, it shows all your voids, which I'm gonna click the resume public void resume. We give it the resume button. We're gonna do it for all of these. We're gonna check this out. The game starts, it is off. We stop and pause the game. When we click on here, it's gonna say quit game. As you see the message, it says quit game, which means our button actually works. And the setting doesn't work because we don't have anything written in the setting part. When I press the resume button, the game is actually gonna resume. So this was how to make the resume button. There's actually one option I think you can do if you have audio in your game, which I'm gonna show you guys if you have audio in your game. So I actually added an audio to the game, which acts as a background music. The optional thing I said you guys could use was when you stop the game, your audio's volume would decrease, so it makes your game look better. It's an optional thing you can do. I'm gonna create an empty object. I'm gonna call it background music. You can do this with whatever audio you have. I'm gonna drag and drop my music on here, which is gonna create an audio source, or you can actually make the audio source yourself. Say audio source, it adds one. Then you have to give it this. It doesn't matter actually. I'm gonna make it play on awake, and I'm gonna make it loop. So when I start the game, as you guys saw, it played the music. So I'm gonna say whenever I press the escape button, I'm gonna make the music's volume, decrease. So for that, I'm gonna need the audio source I give the audio to. So I'm gonna say public audio source. I'm gonna call it background music. Actually, we need something more. I'm gonna call it private float. We're gonna say music volume amount, which is equal to 0 at the start of the code. So we go here, we're gonna say the audio source we just created, we named it background music. I'm gonna say background music dot volume is gonna be equal to background music dot volume that we have divided by 2, or make it half. It's gonna make it half. We stop the game, we give the audio source to it, then we start the game again to see if it actually works. As you guys see, the sound is now lower. The problem is whenever we stop, it's gonna make it half and half and half, and it's gonna repeat that. The volume is decreasing as I click that, and finally it gets to 0. So to get that, we first have to, put this amount, the background music volume amount, into something so we can actually back it up if we want to, unpause the game. We say music volume amount equal to background music dot volume. This is for when we stop the game, and so I'm gonna actually, recover the audio. To recover the audio, we're gonna say background music dot volume is equal to our music volume amount, the number we gave it. And then you can do this too. Music volume amount, make it 0 so it doesn't introduce any bugs. You can copy these two lines and put them in under the zoom button too. You have to do this. It's gonna play the audio. I'm gonna make it louder so you guys see. As you guys see, when I press the escape button, the sound is lower. When I press it again, it goes up again. Or whenever I press the resume button, it goes up again. So, and that's it. That's the optional thing you can add. It's pretty simple. And this is the end of the video. And I'm gonna do something for the end of the video, like the last two videos. So this is what I created for the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.